everybody. My dad thinks his podcast is amazing, so please subscribe, give it 5 stars or whatever, and maybe he'll finally stop talking about it. Anyways, welcome to Sober Ad.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Sober as Fuck. This week is a very special week for me. One of my friends is going to be joining us. She's been a huge inspiration to me and my path to sobriety. We met on Reframe. Her name is Marissa Charest, and she will be joining the show today.
Hey, Marissa.
What's up, Marissa? How are you?
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Awesome.
Perfect.
Happy Friday.
Yes, Friday. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on.
I'm so excited to
It's
be
early
here.
where you are, isn't it? What time is it there?
It's 9:30. It's early enough for me to have messed up the time zones, but it's actually like my perfect time of day. I love the 9 to 10 area. It's like my most productive time.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, it's great to see you. I was just letting everybody know you've been a huge inspiration for me, and especially when I just started off with Reframe. You know, you were somebody that I always kind of looked up to. You were on all the meetings. Your video was huge, absolutely huge for me. You could talk a little bit about that if you don't mind, and kind of let everybody know, you know, how that progressed and how that started.
Yeah. Real quick, you really touched my heart when you shared with me that you were about to hit your 200 days and that my video had made such an impact. And I was having a lot of struggles with coming forward and being public about this because it is such a vulnerable thing. And it is so just, you're telling everybody that you've ever known, I'm admitting I have a problem and I'm not making excuses anymore. So I had a lot of validation in hearing from another reframer that this video made them want to keep going. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't just like getting someone inspired to start. It was like, hey, I'm already in this, and seeing this is making me want to continue. Because that's some of the hardest part, was just not just getting to the point of like, okay, I know this is the decision I want to make. It's like, why do I want to keep making this decision every single day? That video, I'm really glad that my coach at the time, which my day one just happened to be my first day with my coach, and he recommended doing these 15 to 20 second clips, talking to yourself and not to watch them. I remember doing my first one, but I didn't remember what I had said or anything like that because I was still drunk. And I kept doing it every morning. And it gave me some power also in seeing each video. Like my camera roll, that's all it was. I was on my couch. I didn't get out of that pink robe for 8 days. I didn't leave the house for 8 days. And I didn't watch it until day 30. And I put it together, and my husband and I sat there and cried. And it was like, the progress that I made in just 30 days was incredible. It made me want to keep going. I was also lucky enough to have met a couple of other reframers who made me feel so supported and so inspired. They all happened to live in Kentucky. So I decided to get on an airplane and go and fly out and meet them. And it was the best decision I ever made. They are 3 of my best friends in the entire world. And our accountability group, there's 8 of us. It all started just, from Reframe, from just one forum post. And in those videos, I watch myself grow more confident and grow to love myself more. But the thing that isn't said in those videos is how much outside influence I was getting for not just the alcohol, but it's okay to not be okay. I understand. I hear you. I see you. I'm holding space for you. Don't need to give you any advice. Just going to listen. That was not really something I'd experienced before. And like, I don't know if I would have had some of these revelations like that one. I don't know if I would have had them if I hadn't taken these videos over the course of time, not watched them, and then gone back and watched them all at once. And like I said, that 30-day mark was the first time that I put them together. And it made me want to continue taking the videos. And when I did make the decision to post it publicly on my 100 days, I struggled a lot with that decision. I asked my husband for like permission, and he was like, why are you asking me? Like, this is your life and your journey. And if this is like, you do you, I support it, you know? And I was like, well, listen, this is gonna affect your life too, because people in our world are gonna see that I've made this life change. And the people who don't want to talk to me about it or aren't comfortable talking to me about it or just don't know how, they're going to want to talk to you about it. They're going to want to ask you questions. They're going to want, and that's exactly what happened. He was incredibly supportive, but I was blown away at the people that came out to inquire about how I did it or what app I was using, the little things. It was like I opened this door to make it safe for other people in our circles or even in the outer circles to be like, oh gosh, somebody that I know who I have seen struggle with it. Trust me, everyone saw me struggle. I now see this video of them totally changing their life. And I can talk to their significant other who's like, she really did turn it all around, you guys. Everything is different, you know? I can't explain the joy and gratitude that I have for my own sobriety every time I see somebody else benefiting from a video post, a social media post, something that seems so simple, an idea that I struggled with so hard on. Is this the right thing? Is this going to be too much emotional drama for me to handle? Are people going to judge me? Who's judging you for making a decision to better yourself, to be a healthier person, to love yourself? The only people that are judging you are the people who aren't willing to say, I think I might have a problem, and I'm not willing to look at myself in the mirror. I was that person for years and years and years. It did not matter what videos I watched. It didn't matter who I was talking to. I was going to defend my not a problem with alcohol till I was dead, probably. I honestly, I don't know how this would have ended if it hadn't ended in this beautiful, beautiful new beginning of my life since I found reframe. Since I quit drinking. My life since I quit drinking.
And that was a question I was going to ask you about. So, you know, we've talked about, you know, and I've been open with it too about, you know, why we joined Reframe, right? Or the things that have happened since we joined Reframe. But what was like that moment that you had, that aha moment, like, you know, now I've got to do this for me. This is what I got to do. Like, if you could walk us through kind of like, you know, what it was for you, what happened, or that night before, whatever it was.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We just had some guests visiting, and I kind of walked through some of this story with them, and it was really cool because I haven't visited the story in a while. But what's so interesting to me is that there really is a light bulb moment. There really is something all of a sudden, one day, and it's different for everybody. It's a different level of severity for everybody, but there's just all of a sudden things click and you're like, I'm done. I'm going to change. Excuse me. For me, it was around Christmas time of 2022, and my dad was here visiting, and my husband's dad was about to arrive like the next day. So I had a bit of a falling out with a neighbor, and that kind of spiraled me into giving myself permission to overindulge in my overindulgence of the Christmas celebration. So my dad was here visiting, and he also likes to drink. And it was very easy, because it was Christmas time, to have an excuse to start right when we woke up and drink all day. On Christmas Day, my dad and I stayed up after my husband had gone to bed, and we were having a really wonderful conversation about how proud we were of my sister, who at the time was about 10 years sober, and how she just has completely turned her life around. She really struggled with opioids. She got caught up in the, pill mill drama of that pharmaceutical stuff. It was awful. We were in Florida. It was like the epicenter of all of that. And she did the work, and she made it happen and sustained it for a really, really long time. And it's been beautiful to watch. So we're having this wonderful conversation, and I keep going back to the bar and pouring this beautiful, brand new, rare bottle of mezcal that had just been gifted to my husband from a client of his as a Christmas gift. And I opened it, and he had known that I'd opened it. I think he probably thought I was going to have one glass, but I kept going back to the bar and pouring glasses until that bottle was empty. And put the bottle back, continue the conversation with my dad. Everything's great. Go to sleep. Wake up the next morning feeling like I might die. Like, I don't know if I've ever been that hungover. Like, it was, I tried to drink it off, and that didn't even work. Like, I was just like, this is real bad. And I wasn't throwing up. And I wasn't medically in danger, but I kind of felt like I was, but I knew that like I wasn't. And I was like, why am I not in like serious trouble? Like, why wasn't I throwing up last night? I drank an entire bottle of mezcal after who knows what I drank all day, and I didn't get sick. My body didn't reject that. How much? Like, I couldn't even process it. I couldn't deal with it. And I'm laying on the couch, and my sister and her husband wanted to FaceTime us. It's, Christmas time, and having, again, a wonderful conversation. And she's talking about how she was at Christmas dinner, and for the first time in years, she felt triggered to drink, and she didn't. And she was really proud of herself. And I had to let them take over the FaceTime, because I was just like, I want to feel proud of myself. Like I didn't even know. I wasn't able to even fathom what that could feel like, that joy, that relief of being like, I'm proud of myself. And it's making me tear up, because I'm proud of myself all the time now. And I'm like, I didn't even know what that felt like. And I wanted it so bad, so bad. So after that FaceTime, I don't know, maybe I just I couldn't sneak it. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but I was like, I have to tell Brett. I've got to tell him that there's an empty bottle where there should be a full one. I'm sick. I'm scared, and I don't know what to do. And rightfully so, he was very angry. He was very angry. At any point in time, I could have opened up earlier that day and been like, hey, I screwed up. But I chose to lie about it, hide it, try and hide it. And the conversations that we had, because our parents were here, or our dads were here, we had to have them, in our room quietly. And of course, I'm mortified, so I just wanted him to be happy with me again. And I was willing to do anything under the sun to just make it so that I could feel okay, so that our relationship was okay. It wasn't about alcohol. It was just, I need my marriage to be okay so I can function as a human. I guess I downloaded Reframe. I guess I got targeted on Instagram or Facebook, and I downloaded Reframe, and I paid for the year subscription, and I jumped on the app, and I started the check-ins the next morning. One of the things that my husband did say to me that to this day hits home. I know that he was not going to leave me that day. We were only married for 2 years at that point, and we just weren't at that level of like, I'm going to leave. But he did say to me, he's like, if your dad wasn't here and my dad wasn't coming tomorrow, I would be taking the dogs to a hotel right now. And I realized, like, sure, he'll do it tonight, but he's not like, how many more times eventually he's not going to come back, and he wasn't even going to leave because our parents are visiting. And it's still, I couldn't deal with that. I could not handle my husband might not believe in me anymore. He might give up on me. wasn't about me. I didn't care about myself enough, but I needed him to. You know what I mean? So I made the choice to continue on with the Reframe program, and I started to join meetings, and I made it 19 days, and we got on a plane to Florida for a trip. He does Red Sox fantasy camp every year because he's a big Red Sox fan. So he gets to go play out his dream for a week and, and be a baseball player with the Red Sox coaches and things. It's an amazing week. But I did make the choice to drink, and there was plenty of alcohol there all day, every day, coolers, wine bottles, just. It was a free for all. And when I came home, I did 3 more weeks of thinking I could do it myself. And one day I was just like, I've got the support, I got the tools, I've got Reframe. What am I doing wrong? So I signed up for a coach. I didn't know what else to do. I was just still trying things. You know what I mean? And that morning, 4 a.m., I woke up all hungover, still drunk, and I was Marco Poloing with some of my friends, and I was just like, I was Marco Poloing with the friends that were just here. And I was saying to her, I was like, I really don't want to do this anymore. Like, I really want to change my life. Like, I don't know how, but I don't want this. Like, I got to change. I know I have to do the work. I know I have the tools, but I don't know how to use them. I just wasn't saying it like that, I was lucky enough, again, to just have love and support around me from reframers, from people in my life who don't have substance abuse issues. And I had a friend here in Canyon Lake who I did not know very well, who was like, come on over, be here with me and the kids all day. I got you. You're not going to drink. And I got through day 1. I had my coaching session. Coach made me promise I could make it 7 days to our next session. I was able to make that promise. And 7 days came, and I was like, I think I could do 30. Well, I went to Kentucky on like day 21 or day 22. I was planning on drinking on the flight home. Nope. Changed my mind. Got home, told my husband, I think I'm going to try to 60 days. I think it was about day 50 where I was like, I'm absolutely getting to that 90-day meeting. Day 75, somewhere around there, he was like, so, I know we're coming up on day 90. What's like the new target? I was like, no, we don't have, no, we're not talking about it. Just, we're not drinking right now. We're not drinking today. And now I'm way more comfortable being like, I know I'm not going to drink. It's also been almost 2 years that I've been at this every single day, and if I really truly think about it, I'm not going to sit here and swear up and down that it's forever, but I can promise you that it's absolutely not today. It's not tomorrow. I am in this thing. I am willing to do the work. I enjoy the work, even the really awful work, the shitty work, the work that hurts, that I resist. I love it because I feel so much better on the other side. It's worth every second.
Absolutely. Yeah. The work is what, I've talked about this before, especially on the podcast, that, when we do the meetings, that's work, right? You're there for an hour, 2, 3 hours a day. But when you're not in that meeting, that's when the real fucking work starts, because nobody's there to hold you accountable unless you have a group, which you did, which is phenomenal. And you guys have hung together real tight, at least that I know of, especially with Carl,
Yes.
for a real long time. And that's what you got to do. You got to build, your team together, your teammates, to hold everybody accountable for. That's just fucking, that's amazing.
I love your story,
Thank you.
and I'm not a reframer, but I do suffer with a lot of mental health stuff, which we talked about on the last podcast. But I was listening really intently to your story, and I love that I kept hearing I. It wasn't about, at first when you were talking about you did it for your husband, right? And that's why you went back to drinking. It has to be for you. And then an amazing side effect of you doing the work is the life that unfolds just naturally, right? Something else that I really, really like about your story, is with a lot of stories, like even with ours, or not ours, yours, is something bad happens and it's like a rock bottom. And everybody has a different rock bottom, and it doesn't always have to be this like big thing. And it wasn't anything for him like jail or anything like that. It was just he got angry and drunk in front of his kids, and he did not like looking at himself in the mirror. With your story, you didn't give up. And I think that is so important for people to understand, because so often, and just to kind of preface, my brother was in active addiction for 20 years. I mean, all of the things, narcotics, alcohol, everything. He's been sober now for 4.5 years. He's done amazingly well. He heads up 2 intakes for hospitals for people to start detox. And I mean, he's just I mean, it's incredible. And my mom suffered from mental illness and also some addiction, and unfortunately she passed away.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. But the common theme here, even with my mom, and it didn't work for her, is you keep trying. So many times people just punish themselves so much because they do drink or they have a slip up. And I really see, and again, I'm not part of the community, but from the outside, that's sort of being redefined. And I love that, right? Like, it's not encouraging you to use, but it's also saying you're a human being, and life is just really, really fucking hard.
It's really fucking hard.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's great for those who never drink again and never pick it up and never have a craving, but like anything else, it's on a spectrum. And I just loved your story because it was unique, and you're not ashamed of the fact that you drank a couple times, and you looked so confident, and you were like, I did those. I didn't like it. I woke up the next day, immediately knew this is not who I am. And I just kept pushing forward. And I just think that you're incredible. Thank you for sharing your story. I thought that was awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's amazing.
There's one more piece of this story when you said that I drank a couple of times, and that's putting it so kindly, because I was still, of course, over drinking, even when I was like, oh, I was moderating. I mean, it was moderating for me, but it was still an unhealthy amount of alcohol. And there was one night in between that Florida trip and my day one. There was one night where I was texting with the Kentucky girls, and I was telling them that I was laying in bed crying because all I wanted was to drink. And I woke up the next morning and I said, I have no idea why I lied to you guys. I was drunk last night, and I was already so angry with myself. I was already mortified, and I already needed your support. So I'm sorry for lying. I don't have any excuse for it, but I need you guys. And of course, they rallied around me, totally gave me all the love and support in the world. I said to one of them this morning, actually, on our check-in, I said, I don't know what made you want to continue to believe in me. You were at your 90 days already. I wouldn't have had the patience for me. Like, I just kept drinking, and I was lying to you guys about it. And you still were like, we got you. We understand. Love you. Here for you. Holding space for you. And it's not even that hard of a thing to do, to just be there for someone else. But I think it's the missing piece for a lot of people struggling with addiction. They say the opposite of addiction is connection, and it's the most true statement I've ever heard about recovery.
Without a doubt, 100%. And I've commented about that. I've made so many friends just being in the sober community, more than I ever did drinking, being at a bar, anything like that. I mean, the community here is so tight knit. I feel like, if you needed somebody in a heart, even if they're in California and you live in Kentucky or Tennessee, they would be there the next day, that night, whatever it took to be there to help you out, that person would do that. And not all friends would do that, or at least people that you think are your friends. So yeah, I mean, this community and the tightness of it is just, it's absolutely incredible.
I noticed that with you too. Like when Ryan was drinking, we have very small circles anyways. I find that as anyone gets older, your circle gets smaller just because you don't have time and things like that. So that's natural. But, I've always had friends. I have a best friend. We've been best friends since longer than we've been married. And then like friends through our daughter's school, social circles. And I used to tell him all the time, like, you don't really have any friends. And he's like, oh, I have plenty of friends. I'm like, no, but like, you don't have friends, like people who call and check on you, people who are still like wanting to know what's going on, even if it doesn't benefit them. So, and I know the answer for you, but something I've seen consistently, again, from the outside is when you start setting boundaries, when you start having those healthy behaviors, certain things and certain people just naturally fall off. And that can be really difficult too. I mean, at first, there are, like you said, a lot of people who you think are like your solid friends or even family or whatever, who probably no longer benefit from your drinking, or it just highlights some sort of internal issue with them. Have you had a anything like that happen? Like, what's your story behind that?
Yes, I have had many. I think that when people have any major life event, getting engaged, getting married, having a baby, quitting drinking, anything that's a big lifestyle change, makes people look inward at their own life, at their own choices, to ask themselves, am I happy with where I'm going? Do I want to have a family? Do I want to get married? Do I want to stop drinking or address my relationship with alcohol? And I noticed that the people in my life who I perceive to struggle with alcohol, they distance themselves as much as I distanced, because I didn't want to talk about drinking. I didn't want to hear about it. All I really want to do is talk about being sober and about how I talk about being alcohol free and talk about how much my life has improved, even though it's still life. Life is hard. Life sucks a lot of the time, but it's so much easier when you're not drunk trying to deal with all of it, or alcohol sick if you're not drunk. And I felt love and support from people who I didn't expect to feel love and support from. And I've also felt like kind of judgment from people that I kind of thought would support me. And it's taken a lot of processing, reflecting, and also just like accepting my own issues with being around people who drink, or wanting a relationship with people who still view alcohol as a really important part of their life. It starts to become this natural thing because I've changed so much. It's not just the things that I'm doing. It's like literally the conversations I'm having and the things that I'm saying have changed. So somebody who is partying all the time and going out, we don't really have anything to talk about anymore. So they're not calling me either, because all I'm going to say is, hey, I just came from this meeting and had this awesome revelation. I'm going to go journal about it and then take a walk and like meditate about that. And I mean, this is
love
my
all
life.
those things.
Yeah.
I don't even, I mean, I quit drinking, like a month and a half ago. I've never had an issue with alcohol. I don't have any problems with it, but I love all those things. So I'll happily do those things with you. You can FaceTime me and we can just tandem do all those things. I love it. That's my partying these days. Yeah. Like that sounds amazing.
That's what we've graduated to. A couple Netflix shows and and asleep by 9:30, 10 o'clock.
I love it. I'm in.
I've also really, really been impressed by my husband. He has, without me asking or without any kind of, real intention behind it, he has almost quit drinking also. He has a glass of whiskey on a Friday or Saturday night with his cigar after I've gone to bed. That's pretty much it. And of course, it gives you more energy and all the wonderful things that come along with giving up drinking, or at least giving it up for the most part. It's just a positive health benefit in general. But again, it's also one of those things where it's like he sees how much it's benefiting my life. He wants to support that. He wants me to keep going, and he wants to encourage me to keep going. And so he doesn't want to be drunk around me. That doesn't do anything for anything in our lives, So it's just naturally become, I'm surrounding myself with people who don't really consume alcohol. I also tried to start a group here in Canyon Lake called Beyond the Bottle. And we did 2 meetings, but it was really hard because this is a big drinking community, and the people that were willing to open up and talk about it, it was really difficult to have people who are like, I don't drink and haven't drank in a really long time, mixed with people who are like, I'm kind of sober curious, being out in a setting where it's like every place is just a bar. It's situationally, it just doesn't work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and to touch on your husband just for a second, and obviously I don't know him, I can't speak for him, I don't know if he's there, but when my brother got sober, and then especially when you got sober, these were people that I never could have imagined would be sober and present again. So I kind of did the same thing, I got sober, and for me, it was because I didn't want to waste any more time. I didn't want to be drunk. I wanted to be fully present. I didn't want to feel like shit the next day. Like, I wanted to be fully immersed in those relationships and remember them with a clear head. Because, like when my brother got sober, he finally called a year and a half. I mean, we had talked in the year and a half, but he's like, I'm ready to see you now. Cause he ended up going to rehab and, sober living. And I looked at Ryan and I was like, if I don't get my ass to Texas and put my arms around my brother, I'm never going to forgive myself, because I haven't put my arms around him really in 20 years. And we are super close. I mean, to the point that some people think we're twins. Yep. And so if I'm just assuming for your husband, yeah, the health benefits are great, but we want to experience it all. We've already lost so much time, so many great memories that we have that you don't remember, so many things that we wish we could forget. No more missed time. There's no more, we're making up for lost time. I want to be sober and present and clear for every single fucking bit of it. So I think that's a big thing too.
Yeah. And speaking on that, obviously I'm a big Brett fan now because he's a Red Sox fan, which I saw from your Instagram post, by the way. I absolutely love that because I'm a Red Sox fan as well, which is really cool. But talk a little bit about, so I know you were, obviously you were concerned about, when you're the next day, right? When you're drinking, you wake up and he says, he's not going anywhere yet.
Mm-hmm.
He's not taking the dogs and going to the hotel yet. Mm-hmm. How has everything changed? So, was it something right away that he saw in you? Did it take some time to maybe earn that trust back? Like, what did your relationship look like? Obviously now, since you've been sober, like go from there, like to where you're at now.
Yeah. I mean, I think that inherently addicts are liars. So the trust is always broken and takes a really long time to repair, because that's just the thing about trust. Once it's broken, it takes forever to get it back. We have put a lot of work in to repair that trust and make sure that we're on the same page and all these kinds of things. But what was so incredible, and I actually resisted at the time, he was like, you need to work on you, honey. This isn't about me. This isn't about us. You need to go work on you. Do whatever you need to do. Do your meetings, take your walks, go meditate, journal. I'm good. Don't worry about me. You don't need to make sure I'm okay or you're keeping. No, take care of yourself. Get right. Get healthy. And we'll figure it out. I mean, he's my best friend. I trust him with my life. I know he trusts me with everything. He doesn't trust drunk Marissa. I mean, duh. I don't either. Right. Yeah. I love that he trusts that I'm not gonna drink, right? But it's also like so many times that I lied, so many times that I manipulated, so much of that bad behavior is ingrained in our communication, in just how we interact with each other. There's no way around it except for addressing it and trying to change it. And it takes time. I'm terrible with patience. I am the least patient person ever. I don't even know how I actually got alcohol free. I think I'm 524 days today. I don't know how I'm 524 days alcohol free, because I don't have patience to do it for one, but I did. I did it for 520 something of them. Patience is all mindset. And I don't know. It's just, I'm so lucky that he was patient with me gave me the ability to find patience within myself so that we could come back together.
That's awesome. You don't have patience for alcohol anymore. That's what it is. You feel so amazing that you don't have the patience for the hangovers and for feeling like shit anymore. That's what it is.
To touch on that too, you had mentioned earlier the waking up in the morning and just feeling so bad every day. I just got over having COVID, and I kept thinking to myself, who wants to do this to themselves all the time? Why do I do this to myself all the time? I woke up every day feeling terrible and like would just go drink it. Like, oh my goodness gracious. Just the week of being laid up in bed, I was like, I can't go work out because I don't feel well. I'm journaling and meditating until I'm blue in the face, but all I really need is to like go be Marissa, go like enjoy my life again. And I can't because I'm sick, and I had to play this mental game of like, you're not drunk and lazy and hungover laying on the couch. You are sick trying to get better, and you're going to get right back out there as soon as you're better. It's a lot of work, even when you're not working because you're sick and you're on the couch. You're working to tell yourself it's okay to just sit and be sick and lay on the couch.
Yes. So just a couple more questions. Number one, what do you, I want to say this, what do you hope others take away from your story?
Anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. It's probably not going to happen overnight, but it's a choice that you make. It is 100% just a choice. And even if you screw up and you go back on that choice, I mean, when you make a choice to go on a diet, sometimes you have that candy bar, but then you continue on the diet the next day. All you got to do is just make the decision with yourself that you want to make a change. Doesn't have to be forever. I'm wearing my shirt that says just for today. Try.
Damn right.
I love it.
Just for today.
Awesome.
Just for this hour, for this minute, whatever you need to do. Everyone is capable of stopping their relationship with alcohol, changing their relationship with alcohol.
That's awesome. I love that.
I love that too, because it's that whole mentality that we live by, like, just show up. You know, the thing that changed for me when I started my mental health recovery is I found a provider who was like, all you have to do is walk in the door. You can sit there. You don't have to do anything else. Just show up. And you have shown up for yourself. And I think that's just amazing. Even on the days, like I said, where you slipped or whatever, you're like, okay, but I know that I don't want it to be this way. And I just think that that's really awesome. And we'll have to get your husband on here one time too. I'd love to hear from him as well.
Oh, I would love that. And just to circle back all to just the inspiration and the environment that Reframe, provided for us to be able to all connect. It's really incredible to just be able to meet you guys like this and be able to have conversations like we've known each other forever, because we just all have so much in common. And I know so much about you, Ryan. We've never had a one-on-one conversation on video like this.
Never.
But we know so much about each other. It's incredible.
Isn't that crazy?
I love it. I love it.
Nobody ever believes me when I tell them this. My wife does now, but when I'm talking to somebody and I have all these friends on Reframe, and we've done these meetups before, right? Which next time you come to Kentucky, by the way.
Yes.
So I grew up in Kentucky. I'm from Northern Kentucky, near Cincinnati. So I lived there forever, and I'm up in Louisville, Kentucky all the time for work. So next time you go, you need to let me know so I can come meet up with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe all four of us. That would be really fun too.
That'd be awesome.
Yes, 100%. Yep. We will make it happen.
Should have lost my train of thought after that.
That's okay. We're just having a good time and talking. Nothing's gonna happen. I think you had another question.
I know you had another question.
Did, but I was talking about the Kentucky. Oh, sorry. So what to get back to? But when I tell people about Reframe and the meetups, and it's like, okay, you meet this person, you've never met him before. And this has happened to me many times when I met Reframers for the first time. It is like I have known this person my whole life. We sit and talk, right? You get a big hug, big embrace, and then you just sit down and you shoot the shit. And you're getting all this stuff out and talk, but it's like you've known each other your whole life. You know everything about the deepest, darkest secrets about each other. It is an incredible feeling. Would you not agree?
Absolutely, 100%. not only do you like feel all these amazing things, but you get to just be your authentic self. No filters, no apologies, because that's how we show up to meetings. So then you get to be like that in person, and it's like,
100%.
oh my God, it's exactly how I thought it was going to be. This is amazing.
Selfishly, I will say thank you so much, because now he actually has friends, and I'm a big believer that no one person can be your everything. And so I'm like, I mean, this is definitely on the bottom of the list of like the things that I love about Reframe. But one of the things I love about Reframe is now I can be like, just go talk to your friends about it. Gosh, like, when you get mad at me, just go bitch to your friends about it. Leave me alone. Oh, so I love you. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I'm like, now I'm just going to be like, God, call Marissa, see if she can fly to Kentucky and she can bitch about the problems with you. I'm tired of hearing it.
I love it.
Thank you. I love you already. Yes. I love the whole Reframe community, but no, in all honesty, like, it's been amazing to see this community grow and thrive from a distance, you know, like the meetings and everything are private. So it's only like whenever we've gone to Texas and met people, or like this, or a couple of friends have like reached out and asked to talk to us about things. And I mean, I've seen an overall just like shift in the light behind your eyes, knowing, because, you know, as spouses, we love y'all and we'll do anything in the world. And even though we might understand and struggle with our own things, we'll never really be able to empathize with what that feels like. You know, like we are on the other end of it. We have our own frustration and trust issues and all of that. But I don't know what it feels like to want to drink all the time. I don't know what it feels like to wake up and say, oh my God, what did I do yesterday? I don't know what that feels like. So for you to have a community, and I'll say with you too, Marissa, like, it's beautiful, because to know that y'all have people in your lives who really understand and have walked that with you. I think that is just priceless.
Absolutely.
It is. It is.
Okay, so we've talked about the serious shit. Now I got something funny I want to bring up with you.
Okay.
So while we were in Dallas, we met up with her brother and a bunch of sober people. And she brought this up about me being very intoxicated. And I was a serial peer. So I'd just pee in like these random ass crazy spots. So the funny thing is she was the odd person out at the table, because everybody's like, oh yeah, we've done
Lily
that.
and I,
oh,
our
yeah,
daughter and I were the only two, what my brother calls normies at the table. So
my question for you, you're being our first guest, and for everybody coming up is,
oh my gosh,
where's the craziest, funniest place you've ever peed?
Yes.
While you were drinking, or
yes.
when you were drinking?
Yes. 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 Okay.
She's like, okay. So, before you start though, I do have to point out that there is a theme. So the story behind it is, I told this story about Ryan peeing on the floor in a hotel, and I thought it was gonna be hilarious, and they were all just like, okay, were you drunk? Yeah, that happens. So everyone is so excited to tell their pee stories. Everyone is always so excited. So I just had to say that. It's great.
That's so funny. So my parents got a timeshare in Maui before I was born, and they split up when I was like 15 or 16 and kept the timeshare. And when I met Brett, we started using it. And one of the things that you can do is exchange out a week and go somewhere else. And the fun alcoholic I am, I'm like, all-inclusive resort in Puerto Vallarta, like, let's go. So we jump on a plane and fly out to Puerto Vallarta. It's our first trip together. We'd only been dating like 5 months. We'd been best friends for about 9 months before we started dating. So, but we'd only been together about 5 months. Our first vacation. I'm so excited. And we had this long day traveling and everything. And we get there and it's super hot. It's Mexico. I'm just drinking margaritas and tequila by the pool. And I'm like passing out on the day bed and stuff. And I guess that one of the pool attendants was like, hey, we're closing down these cabanas. Like, you guys need to go. And I guess Brett was like trying to wake me up. And I don't know. I remember kind of stumbling down the walkway, and next thing you know, I am throwing up and peeing myself projectile into the bushes, and our like brand new friends from the pool that we've been like drinking with all day. She's like rubbing my back. She's like, "It's okay, honey. Oh, you're peeing yourself. Oh, it's okay, honey." And Brett is just standing there. The guys are like, "Oh," and I'm vomiting and peeing into the bushes at this nice resort in Mexico with these people we don't know that we've just met. Oh my God. And I had no care in the world. Like, I was just so in it because I was so fucked up, you know? Oh my God. And it turned out that trip, every single one of the four of us had a ridiculous story like that. One of the guys ended up throwing up into the takeout bag on our way out of a restaurant. Brett dunked his phone in the water. I mean, we all had our moments, you know? We ended up at a mall in Mexico buying Brett a new phone because he had to work, and he dunked his phone in the pool. So yeah, we were all pretty drunk that trip, but that's my pee story.
I appreciate
I love
that.
it.
Thank you very
That
much.
was a good one too.
That
was a combo. That was like a puke and pee. I like that.
Only time it's ever happened to me, I think. I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Oh,
That's
my
awesome.
gosh.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That just made my day.
That's a fun
Marissa,
question.
thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. Again, you've been a huge, I mean, absolutely huge inspiration for me. Because again, when you hit your 100 days, I was hitting my 30. So the timing couldn't have been like more perfect. And now I actually get to, not face to face, but pretty close face to face, get to say thank you, not just sending you a message, which I did on Instagram. So again, you've been a big part of my sobriety. Thank you so much. I know you'll keep up the good fight, as I will too. And now we can connect with each other whenever, or be each other's buddies, or accountability buddies, whatever we need.
Absolutely.
But again,
I feel the exact same way. I'm so glad that we finally get to connect like this. I admire you and am inspired by you. I'm always seeing your Instagram posts about your fitness progress, and I'm like, okay, I got to get my ass off the couch and go walk now, because I'm still at it, and I haven't taken a walk in 2 days. No, seriously, it really is inspirational to see. Like, I mean, there's a lot to sharing publicly our journeys, right? It just makes other people want to better themselves, and it takes a lot of courage too. And I'm so thankful that you invited me to be here, and that I'm your first guest. And thank you so much.
Numero uno.
That's awesome. It was so nice to meet you, Marissa, and I'm proud of both of you. I think you guys are both just beautiful people, and I'm really happy to be part of it too.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Marissa.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
have a great rest of the day. Bye.
Right, you too.
Bye.
If you love the podcast, which I know you do, please like, subscribe,
and hit that notification bell to get
Boom.
notified every time we post.
That's right. Dropping them, baby.